Dunya, mother of the world, the confluence of continents, the cradle of religions, and the source of wealth. While the Nile is still streaming through the land of civilizations, Egypt is still building the Sphinx and pyramids after pyramids. Egypt is witnessing the most vivid contemporary era, renewing its economy with the highest sustainable development forces, challenging all the tardiness powers by establishing a modern state, grounding on its economy being attractive for investment. It is the majestic Egypt, with its past and present history, making history via its people paving for the future, from a present full with hope and toil. One hand building, and the other hand working unlimitedly. Since the dawn of history, Egypt has enjoyed strong free economy, witnessing many challenges and step jumps relying on data and statistics, where Egyptians realized the importance of data and information since the era of the pharaohs, who counted everything that existed on Egyptian lands, including residents, livestock, and poultries, as well as counting agricultural lands and calculation of the water level of the river and its height at the flood peak. The census was being conducted in Egypt every 2 years and sometimes every year. And census works never stopped in Egypt, except in the years of weakness. But with every renaissance, census was being conducted back again in order to provide data that helps the administrative authority of the Egyptian state in making and implementing decisions. Throughout the ages, the Egyptian state gave attention to statistics and data, and with the start of the modern era in Egypt, when Muhammad Ali took power in 1805, succeeding in upgrading most economic sectors, whether agriculture, industry, or trade. And after Egypt's agriculture crops, especially cotton, increased, Egypt's foreign trade expanded. Construction of the merchant fleet and the reform of Alexandria port played a key role in restoring trade between India and Europe through Egypt. Muhammad Ali also developed the industry, introducing the factory system and establishing a modern industrial base with a desire to train Egyptian workers and encourage the use of modern machinery. Muhammad Ali's sons continued to follow his approach, and the state witnessed during the era of Khedive Ismail a renaissance represented in administrative reform. In addition, industrial and agricultural sectors witnessed a renaissance and great prosperity. The first railway in Africa and the Middle East was established, and the digging of the Suez Canal took place, benefiting international navigation. And with the attention given by the Egyptian state to data and statistics, the first Statistics Bureau was established in 1870, which became the Central Bureau of Statistics in 1887. Then, its name changed to the General Statistics Bureau in 1905, then to the General Statistics Authority in 1911. Over the years, its name changed to become the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics in 1964. C.A.P.M.A.S. C.A.P.M.A.S conducted the first census for the facilities in Egypt in 1937. Then conducted a specialized industrial census every 3 years, using the comprehensive inventory method in 1944, 1947, and 1950. In 1952, Egypt witnessed the July 23 revolution and established the first 2 ministries of industry and planning affairs, while preparing the first 5-year plan for comprehensive economic and social development in the history of Egypt from 1959 to 1965. Aiming to double the national income, which required conducting industrial censuses every 2 years as of 1952 until 1956, for facilities employing 10 or more employees. Due to the increased need for economic statistical data and information, the industrial census was conducted on an annual basis to provide data as a ground for achieving the economic renaissance that the state witnessed at that time. The July Revolution implemented the High Dam Project as one of the most important giant national projects in Egypt's modern history, to increase the agricultural area by 1 million acres and generate 10 billion kilowatts of electricity. saving 2.5 million tons of fuel to the state. And upon the diversification of economic activities, the need to conduct economic censuses emerged. Egypt introduced the economic census with its comprehensive concept in 1991-1992, which was based on the gathering, classification, and publication of data and components for all economic activities during a specific time period to identify the inputs and outputs for every economic activity and the extent of its contribution to the gross national product. Then, the second census was conducted in 1996, followed by the third in 2000, and the fourth in 2012. Today, the Egyptian state is racing against time for progress and increased rates of economic growth to address all obstacles, relying on accurate data that contributes to the planning process, policy making, and decision making to build an economic renaissance that meets the modern era challenges, so as to achieve sustainable, comprehensive development for present and future generations. 2018 marks Egypt's fifth economic census, the first electronic economic census, witnessing a breakthrough in innovation as a result of scientific, technical, and technological experiences gained by C.A.P.M.A.S employees. After conducting the population census using a sound technological infrastructure, this positively affected in less than 2 years the building of an integrated technological system. According to the statistical scientific principles applied internationally and building technological mechanisms to follow up the implementation of the economic census, depending on C.A.P.M.A.S employees' in-house resources, while providing mechanisms of accuracy and comprehensiveness. This materialized via the use of tablets, with built-in applications that guarantee the quality field of work via GPS tracking of researchers in the field. C.A.P.M.A.S showed keenness on ensuring the safety of work mechanisms at all work stages, as well as to overcome obstacles that may face its field employees. Researchers were prepared, equipped, and trained to complete the forms and collect data using the latest modern technological training of 3 consecutive groups, reaching 1,200 trainees in total, being researchers, reviewers, and inspectors. Field work began for Egypt's economic census in November 2018, covering 100% of economic facilities with 10 or more employees, 50% of facilities with 5 to 9 employees, and 5% of economic facilities with 1 employee up to 4 employees, due to the similarities of this target category. And with the beginning of the census fieldwork, a comprehensive media campaign was launched under the concept of Share Your Data for your and your work benefit, which covered major advertising mediums including TV, radio, newspapers, outdoor, social media sites, in order to raise awareness for business owners and enterprises about the importance of the census, urge them to cooperate with the census representatives and provide correct and accurate data. It was communicated that individual data for the facility is confidential by law. Planning for economic development depends entirely on the results of the economic census. In view of the comprehensive database provided about the fundamentals of economic activities in the various sectors of the state, as these fundamentals represent the main pillar upon which decision-maker depends in setting policies and future plans to achieve economic, social, comprehensive, and sustainable development, emphasizing that there is no development without planning, nor planning without accurate diagnosis of reality through numbers, data, and statistics. The economic census indicators will outline the state's investment map, which will provide all the detailed information and data that the investor needs, which helps in the optimal direction for the investments that would raise economic growth rates to achieve Egypt's strategic vision 2030 and the goals of sustainable development. There will be no leadership without development, nor development without statistics.